is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/bgunlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and we're doing a no run-through review for Orleans Stories, which is a slog. No, so this game, whenever it was initially announced, because I think you were the one who told me about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, Orleans Stories, like a campaign of Orleans? That doesn't sound boring. No, but I was initially extremely excited for it because of the potential that, we both love Orleans.
The way it was marketed.
The way it was marketed.
It's my number one game of all time.
Yeah, it's your favorite game of all time.
I like Orleans.
So, yeah, Orleans is great. Like the epitome of what every bag builder wants, aspires to be. Essentially making a campaign, a somewhat historical kind of a civilization kind of game centered around that sounds like a pretty good idea. And oh boy, did TMG just open up this box and take a giant shit in it. That's not entirely true. This game isn't horrible. Mm-hmm. But as we were talking, when you left the room, Brad and I were actually talking about a little bit, and I felt like the more we started really looking at it, the more it seemed to unravel. It's kind of like it's like a rope. Like you pull one string and it just and you're like, great, now I got nothing here. Yeah. I'll let you go. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of Orleans?
It is okay. It is not so okay that I want to play it for 4 hours.
See, here's the thing. It is long, and no matter how much you love Orleans, I can't imagine you love it so much that you would play one game for hours.
Right.
Like there is not enough substance to warrant a long game. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit more. But Brad, what's your initial thought?
My initial thought goes along the lines of what you're saying. You know, it's longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
The base is Orleans. You know, and everything, which is great. And
right.
The game itself isn't bad. It's just.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like some of the decisions that they made, but they executed it in such a horrible way. Essentially, in Orleans, you're gathering victory points, and at the end of the game, you have essentially like checklists of like, okay, here's how, and then you add up all your points, and whoever has the most points wins. And that's it. That's not the same. That's not the case here. Everyone gets a checklist.
That's exactly the same.
That's exactly the same. That's not really a problem for me because you can tackle them in a different order.
Yeah, it is a race for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So you essentially have this, which is a race to complete a bunch of different objectives, and you have to complete them all to win the game. You have to build a well, do something with a monk and cloth, and a harbor, build a church, get 20 citizens. I don't remember what the 2 people one was.
I just love to do something with a monk.
Yeah, but you have all of this. And the problem isn't so much that this. I actually like this. I kind of like this almost a little bit better than the victory point thing. Because, like I mentioned, in Orleans, there's sometimes, not every game, but some games where it's like, this is the definitive way to win. Oh, there's a lot of silk in the market. Race to get that silk technology or tile, and then just ramp to that. Because unless you're playing with the dickhead market that you can fuck with other people, then no one can stop you. So you can visibly see my mountain of silk that's, oh look, this is 60 points right here. Mm-hmm. Like I said, not every game, because sometimes a bunch of silk can go out on the board and then there's not much there. It's not that viable. But my problem with this is it's a race. Like imagine if you were doing a marathon and never mind, my analogy's not going to work.
Okay.
The variability is what differs between the two.
Yeah.
I think this is static.
Yeah,
it's the same every single time.
That's true.
Is static. It's the same every time, so you can almost take the same steps. I mean, I know it's going to be different because people are going to build technology or build these in different
Yeah.
orders, depending on player order and how that happens to happen.
Right.
But in Orleans, with all the events that pop up, you have that turn to prep for it.
Yeah.
This, we were sitting here multiple times being like, okay, famine's coming, Era 3, so we need to stay here at Era 2 and get everything prepped before we move up.
And they I think they tried to fix that a little bit, where we know for a fact famine's coming up, but they give at least a thematic reason, like why we know that. Like some people that came into our village, they told us, hey, we left there because they're getting fucked, so we can prep. And it's an era. I don't know how long an era is supposed to be in, like
generation, I thought, or a couple generations.
Yeah. So at least it was thematically tied in, which I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of my problem, is that you can't even complete some of these until era. Like you cannot theoretically complete the monk one until you can actually get a monk, which is in era 7.
Yeah.
But then there's these things that you pass on the scoring on the fame track that just lets you cross off something. So every single time you play this game, you're gonna cross off the monk.
Yeah.
Just to get it going.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you?
That's my thing. It's like, that's why I like the victory point version better. Yeah. Because I know there's ways that are more beneficial than others, but you can choose which path you want to take. Right. You can be like, I want to try the fisherman route with the money. I'm gonna try to win with money this time instead, or do whatever. Yeah. This one, you are on a rail. Yep. For the most part, you're gonna have to get that.
And for the record, the story is subpar at best. Like, it's not invigorating or anything.
Yeah, it's more like loose history.
Right? It's just like, it's mechanical stories. It's just like, it's telling you why the monks aren't there. Yeah. Like, already. It's like, there's no enveloping, like, overarching reason why we're doing what we're doing.
I was confused because at the very beginning of, like, the actual, when you were explaining everything to us, I was like, oh, so one game isn't just one era. This is going to be the whole
this is a
game.
whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. You're like, this is extremely railroaded. And even then, because the game says 60 to 90 minutes, it does not say per player, so fuck TMG for not actually putting that on there. Yeah. That is an absolute bullshit lie.
Yeah. Imagine unpacking this and being like, okay, yeah, cool. Got some time to burn.
And there's no save system. Like, unlike the Colonists that we played with Josh, that has to say, it's not the best, but you can save it. Yeah. And it's a Civ game. Like, it's a long Civ game, but actually you can be like, all right, that's enough here. We'll bag everything up and we'll save it for whenever we come back. Right. You have to take a few pictures, but
you could pictures, like you were saying, but you'd have to really.
God, that was
right.
terrible.
Okay. Well, let's see. Okay, write down every single thing that you have, and no.
Keep it in your bag and remember which
just
bag
as a deal,
yours.
BGG has it as 60 to 180 minutes.
Like, but here's the thing, because the main thing is that it's long and there's not enough to do. There was a point when we were playing that unless the fame counter stops at 69,
there's no way.
Or 70, like if this is where you have to end, I had an engine that if I had built the the tax collector?
Yeah, it was the tax collector. It was the notary office.
Notary office. That gives me 3 coins. So I had an engine that's like, okay, I can get 3 coins. I can go to the pub, get rid of 3 coins for 3 points. So there is almost zero reason for me to advance. Because if I can just circle this fame track and then just race, citizen, boom. Oh, okay, gonna get the drawback, boom. And then I'll just keep checking off. The only thing that prevents me from doing that is the church. You have to actually build the church, and you can only build the church whenever you get the church in
7, I think.
In era 7.
Yeah.
So, here's the problem with that. Is that, okay, because there's no events that come in, I can look, okay, so to get out of famine, you need to pay a coin for each village on the board. And that's not even each of your villages, just each village on the board. It's like, okay, well, I'm accumulating a shit ton of money anyway, I just won't go to the pub. So, alright, so I'll be in famine for 1 turn. Okay, to get out of attack, your harbor is complete. Well, you can actually complete the harbor before era 4, so okay, I'll just aim to do that. So I'll probably be in there. I'll preemptively do that. You can just plan so far ahead that it's like, I can just be in era 2 while you guys are trying to go in 4 or 5 or whatever, and I can just lap the board and then just race to 7 and then be like, okay, boom, done.
Well, and I think they could have made it a little more intriguing if there would have been these 8 and they were randomized.
Yeah.
That way you couldn't look up. They were all face down, so like you'd flip. Like maybe if one person was getting ready to go, then you'd have those 2 out.
Yeah.
Because then there's some actual consequence to this.
Because that would be a catch-up thing. Because the people that were like if we were behind an era, and we'd be like, okay, well he's on this one, we can kind of see a little bit.
That's true. Yeah.
That's kind of a catch-up thing.
Yeah, that actually wouldn't have been that bad.
Right.
But they wanted it to be so ingrained in like the theme and the story, which is not even that good anyway, that you can't do that. Like, you have to be like, okay, because then, like, I mean, but it still could have worked, because if I go into era, like, let's say it was random, and it's like, let's say era 7, which is the plague, that comes up, it's like, oh shit, okay, I didn't plan for that, but now I have availability for my monks. But you guys now know, okay, well, if we get there, we can get monks. Should we do that? Because, like, nothing mechanically is any reason why we couldn't do that. Why that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I like the mechanics overall.
Well, yeah, because
it's Orleans.
I was like, because you like Orleans.
But I mean, so really, I guess it just boils down to this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what makes it a 3 to 4 hour game.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like it wasn't fun, because we were playing Orleans.
Right.
Yeah, because it gets stale.
We played like two games of Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially.
With no end. It's like watching a 3-hour movie and you like realize you're like, there were scenes in that movie that could have just that didn't have to be in there. Like,
because put it this way, by the time we quit, I had actually already completed one of my sections.
Yeah.
And I had double the amount of citizens. Not by really putting in any more work. Right. I just had an engine.
Yeah, a really good engine. Yeah.
Yeah, because we had played for what? 2 hours, roughly.
Yeah.
We played 2 hours. There's 8 eras. We're on era 2.
Yeah.
He could have went to 3.
Yeah.
I could have gone to 3, but I'm like, why? Because there's a famine. I don't want to deal with that.
It's not like it's the first game thing.
Yeah.
Because we know how to play Orleans.
Yeah.
There wasn't that much added. It was just.
Essentially what they did, they took Orleans and they're like, how can we exploit the fans of Orleans? Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll take the game and we'll just chunk it out. And we'll just make some half-ass story to make the game longer.
I just think calling it stories is incorrect. It should have been like eras.
It should have.
No, it's actually stories, because there's 2 stories. So it'd be funny if it was just story. Because
I wish it would have been more campaigny.
It should have been
where there were stopping points.
Yeah,
and,
and actually put in some effort into each era, like to where. Because in my mind, when I heard Orleans stories, was the fact that it was going to be not legacy, but campaign, where maybe the way that you built or how you did certain things in your era could like expand into where this is mine, this is my whole village or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not that at all. It's a race. I just feel like I don't even remember how much this was.
I don't know, but it was just through pre-orders through their site.
That's
they
right.
didn't go to Kickstarter, which was weird to me because TMG's a Kickstarter. I mean, they do everything almost Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And they didn't do this Kickstarter. I think it was just kind of like,
here's the game.
One thing, an idea I was thinking with this would almost be like if they broke it, since it's stories, if they broke these into 8 games.
Yeah.
And had either the theme was, there was the famine theme, and had it like almost like you had a different starting deal, and you played that out, and
you have
then
to deal with it,
maybe if you won, then you had a little advantage in the next
one.
Kind
of like what Arcadia Quest does. It's like each thing, it's like, okay, well, I won this one, so now the famine's not going to affect me as much.
Right. And that way you had a saving point. There was a whole new setup to start off the next game. Yeah. So you didn't have the same bag. You hit the same 6 or 7.
Yeah,
you start off, and it would be different depending on the theme of the. Yeah. There'd be the attacks, and then that's when the fortresses would come out,
and we have to fight each other.
And you'd have the knights and all that. I think that if you just broke it up into little segments, it would have been so much better.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
TMG.
If you want to work for them, because apparently they had no idea what to do. It seems like. I don't even know how this came up. It boggles my mind at how the mechanic. I mean, that's the thing. We can't even give this game any praise on how the mechanics work Because it's already a game that they've made.
Yeah,
like, it's Orleans.
It's not really new.
And everything new is not bad, but it's not good.
Yeah, it's just not really needed. Like, they didn't really need to make this.
That's true. Yeah, they really didn't.
Yeah, because the Invasion expansion added all those events, and the events add theme to the game. You know?
Right. I mean, because the fact that what makes Orleans great is the fact that you do flip over an event, and it's like, oh, this is going to be good, or it's going to be bad. And like, it's actually based on player. Like, sometimes an event could be good for me, but bad for you.
Right.
But you have that, whatever, you have your actions. Whenever you draw, you have your actions to place out and be like, to try and plan for it. Like we mentioned before, I can sit here and be like, all right, figured out my strat. And then I can have that same exact thing the entire game. And nothing you guys do, unless, I mean, they tried to seem to fix that by trying to conquer one another, but it's like, okay, like,
can't do that
oh
until...
no, you took that from me, so it goes back. All right, I guess I'll just go somewhere else.
Well, and you said that the knights that you need to for attacking doesn't even start till age 4,
5,
or era 5, whatever. So
no, era 4.
We only had 4 more eras or places for territory, and then this would have been worthless,
right?
Yeah.
Until somebody got
there too. And then it forces conflict in a game where there was never any conflict. Like the only conflict in Orleans was the very passive, like, oh, you have a mill, okay, I'm gonna try and take as much to stop you from any, which that's not even that bad. Like, that's not any like personal slight, but here it's like, okay, well, now you get knights, so yep, we ran out of spaces on the board, so now you have to fight each other for any semblance of territory control.
Which, like, I'm never a big fan if it's not like a like meant to be super territory like control game. I'm not always a fan of just throwing that in there because it's like, I have other shit that I want to do. I don't want to fucking fend off.
Right. And then by even forcing conflict, then they also have where you can just build fortresses and be like, okay, well, you can't take these from me.
Touch it. Yeah.
So it's like, so the conflict that they force on you, they also put in another way to prevent that. It's kind of like here's a good analogy. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when that came out, was such a grind that there was microtransactions that you could pay like $20 for an XP doubler or money doubler. So essentially, it made the grind that they implemented in that game non-existent, but you had to pay to do that. It's like, okay, so you're paying me really to not play your game. Here, it's the exact same thing. It's like, hey, we're going to put in here to have you attack each other. Okay, but we're also going to put in something to where you don't have to attack each other. It's like, then why'd you throw that in there? Like, your example, like, replacing or randomizing these, that would work if we wanted to make this game work. But your idea for 8 separate stories that are centered around each theme with different mechanics would have been fantastic. They would have had to actually put in some fucking effort. But...
not just copy and paste.
Yeah, not just copy and paste. And, they missed the mark.
And the rulebooks, it was not good.
Oh, the rulebook is horrendously
Dinky.
bad.
Dinky.
Not only in just kind of organization, where it's like the first page is like, hey, do you know how to play Orleans? Great, you don't have to read this. I like how it's color-coded.
Right.
Because that's pretty nice. But here's the other problem that I have. This is very slight. There's 2 stories, like I said, in this book, or in this game. First Kingdom and King's Favor. The First Kingdom is green, and I was like, okay, great. And I couldn't find the second one, because it's also green.
Oh.
So I didn't even see that until later, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
It could have just been a different color of green.
So,
we're running out of colors. Like.
Right.
90 to 100.
Well, because we had to go to BGG just to find the definition of what all constituted food, which
thematically makes sense. It's all in the food depot, but
they didn't say it. Yeah, and if they don't say it, like, you have to assume it's like, well, wouldn't they have said it? Like,
yeah, you would think so. Yeah, that's what makes it bad. Is like there's no clarification for anything. So once again, all the new stuff that they put in, they don't even really tell you how to implement that new stuff. So once again, that also makes it bad.
Bonus.
Oh,
this is a positive.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't use it, we were just asking you the whole time.
I was like,
everybody gets their own book that kind of talks about what the building tiles do, and it kind of answers any question, so people can look and not,
instead of like everyone passing around the same rule book, like some companies they only print like one player aid. It's like,
so, I mean, this was
one player.
a positive.
It is nice.
Sure.
I do like how the eras are sectioned out And this, I mean, it seems like what they omitted in the rulebook they put in here,
Right.
which I don't like. I think it's like, once again, they just... Who's the designers for this? It's not Reiner Stockhausen,
I
right?
pull up right here.
It's like
Designer is Reiner Stockhausen. Yep.
How do
The
you fuck
DLP
up that
Games,
bad?
which is a European company who makes it, and then TMG who imports it to the U.S.
Gotcha.
So so DLP is actually ones
Who made
makes
it?
TMG's who
Brought it over to the States? They imported it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're the company that
All right.
brings
Well,
it over to the.
Whenever I was saying
They're on
we
TMG then.
or like they, I'm really meaning the designers of the game. So if
Okay.
TMG is if they're the ones who just brought it over to the States, then it's not their fault.
Also, shame on
They're
you.
probably sitting there and they're like, "Oh, great! You guys have a new Orleans game. That's fantastic!"
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because remember when I sent you that pre-order,
yeah,
the thing for the pre-order, I was like, I'm gonna wait because
Yeah.
it just said DLP version, and I was like, I'm
That's
gonna
right.
wait for the TMG because I want it to match my
that's right.
other stuff.
That's
So I
right.
didn't do it, but then I realized it's all TMG anyway. So
Yeah.
that was my mistake, but
I mean,
saving money.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to think of other positives. Like, I like, in terms of the game, not what it could be, because that obviously doesn't exist. I do like the progression of, like, okay, what food is out on the market, you know, what tiles you can get to. I do like that, but very loosely. Like, it's like, okay. Like,
Yeah, it's like very superficial likes.
I'm really stretching
It's
to
just-
find some things I
It's
like.
just an okay game.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these up here were kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
those, because, you know, like
Oh,
in,
the benefits
in
and the benefit
Orleans,
boards. Mm-hmm.
you know, they had the different boards where you could cull your bag by
Yeah.
putting stuff out there and get benefits, right?
Yeah.
These are the same way, but once they're filled, they flip over.
Yeah.
And they're something
Yeah,
totally
so like
different.
so like the wine press, you send wine and then three people and you get five money. The next one is the weaving loom, which is wool and silk, and you get 5 points. The 3 field crop rotation, you get 3 points. The back is right of succession, which is 5 points, 5 money and stuff like that. Barter, that was like the only conflict one. You can trade something for another person, but you only do that 3 times, and it goes to Knights Allegiance.
Yeah.
Alchemy is alchemy.
Yeah. It was just, it was a little bit more creative.
Yeah, I did like
on
that.
those parts.
Yeah, because at first I saw those up there and I was like, I don't know how much I'm going to use those. I actually wound up being the only one.
I did
put
like one.
I put one out there
Okay,
when I was moving the air.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
yeah, because I know
So
I
then-
put 2, so I guess I didn't do a significant amount more, but
I don't care for the semi-co-op part.
Yeah,
That's
the
always
food
weird.
depot. It didn't make any thematic sense,
it's like, yes, technically a famine affects everybody.
but it only affects the people who are in
You
that
know,
era.
And if you have enough money, it'll only affect you one turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then
true.
you just
You're like,
start.
oh well, that day sucked. Let's move on. It's
Good thing I have money.
right. Good thing I'm. Yeah.
Throw it at the ground. Make food.
So, yeah, it's you
That's how
know.
that works.
Honestly, I can't really think of anything else. The rest we would have to talk about is like what our thoughts on Orleans are, which we're not doing
It's a
here.
runaway leader on this with something else we had decided.
We had talked about that. Yeah, I feel like if and here's my problem with not a lot of games, but with certain games. What I like so much about, like you mentioned, Orleans. Yeah, there are some times where you have that game where that like this is the strat to at least aim for. But if you play it enough, then it's like, okay, well, you're going to go after the silk because they're worth the most points. Well, I'm going to go after other stuff that effectively blocks that. But there's so much variety in that game that in that particular instance, me trying to take away silk from you is not the only thing I'm focusing on. There are games where it's like, oh, to stop you from winning, I have to play my entire game to stop you from winning, and I hate that. But there's enough variety in Orleans to prevent to have variety. Here, I would never not go for this.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
your entire you would have to essentially stop me. Like you stopped me with the barn, like because that was five money. And it's like, okay, well now you ended up taking the rest of it, so it wasn't there. But that'll come back in era 4. More wheat will come back. 10 more wheat. So then it's like, okay, great, I'm gonna go for that.
There's some that are obviously better
Yeah.
in this because the randomness isn't.
Right, and then here's the thing, because this stays the same, it's like, okay, so in Era 2 we get money for each village. Well, I'm going to take the secret village.
Yep.
And then I'm just going to sit here, and then just stay there, and then just go back to the pub, and just lap
I
the
really
board.
think if they just if we just got a paper cut,
if they try,
if we just got scissors and just chop,
right. Just like break this. Well, I would laugh if this was a punch board. I'm like, oh
no!
And even on the back, it looks like there was like, hey, look, here's the board.
I mean, leave that the very first one, Era 1,
colonization,
would always be the first one.
Yeah,
but then everything else
could be random,
change, you know?
Except Era 1 and Era 8 because that's peace. You can't. All right, colonization. That's true. We're in peace.
So like you could lay them out, like face up.
No, what your idea of having an actual campaign with these all centered, because I think actually having like a game where it's a new setup and it's actually a war, like it's new war mechanics, that would have been cool. It would have completely
and dealing with plague, you know, and it's like this would be a food battle, you know, trying to get enough food to
fend off the famine. It's like what could have been, but in all honesty. DLP or Reiner, whatever the collab there, was just fucked it up so bad that it's like I would never play this. I would never play this again.
Nah, like
I wouldn't say that
But why would you go through this same thing when you could easily play Orleans?
Well, I'm not saying when I say I would. I mean, if I was in a game day, with people, you know. They were long game players. Yeah. Then I would probably, you know.
But it's like with most game days, it's like you want to try and play as many games as possible throughout the day, and it's like, hey, how about we get our fill of Orleans by actually playing Orleans? And you know, wow, it didn't take up the entire game day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
bad time.
Yeah.
Well, not really a bad time because we played long enough to.
It's not a great time, and now it's already almost 1, and it's like. Wasted our whole morning.
It's like, great, thanks for ruining my life. No.
I hate myself.
Alright, so scale of 1 to 10, Kat.
I'll just give it a dang old solid 5. It's pretty much Orleans, but I would just personally rather play Orleans.
Brad?
I'll do 6.
A 6?
Yeah, mainly because I because Orleans is almost a perfect score for me. Mm-hmm. I still get that feeling of it, you know, and like I said, if I was playing with people that preferred long stretching
I'd play
games,
something else. Would Orleans be your number 1? Ignore all this. Right. Would it be your number 1 if it was 4 hours?
No, because
right, and that's what this is,
right, and that's why this is a 6.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, and it has a lot of needs for improvement for sure.
Yeah. The box art's better.
Yeah. I do like the box art.
It's not ugly as sin.
I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
I mean or own it or anything.
Definitely play it if somebody else had it.
Yeah.
I'm actually giving it a 4. Oh, I think this is below average. Like, because I was thinking 5, but I cannot give this game credit because it steals Orleans. Mm-hmm. Like, the reason why it works is because Orleans is like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 for me. And so it's like, okay, well, I can't give this the credit because it didn't do anything new, so I have to rate it based off of everything new that it implemented, and it fucked up so bad on everything new that it's not. I would never play this again. Yeah. There's no way. I don't like Orleans that much. Just sit here and literally just draw from a bag for 4 hours. There's no way. Yeah. And even if it's one of those things where you can bum rush to the eras, and that's basically them saying, hey, everything new about the game, don't fucking do.
Yeah.
Just rush through it all to finish the same checklist that, you just wouldn't ever...
See...
You wouldn't ever,
The only thing that bugs me about the checklist, I'll just say it real quick because I know we're pretty much done, is at first I don't mind it being the same because, like I said, it is a race. We are all trying to win the same goal. It's going to be the same every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
I'm looking at this dirty piece of paper. I'm gonna go to a 5 as well.
Go to a 5?
Yeah, just because, I mean...
That's just, that's kind of a thing.
And that's the thing is...
Yeah, 5s. 5, 4.
Yeah.
5, 4. Yeah.
And that's the thing is because it's I think it's below average is because they missed the mark so bad in what could have been, and in the marketing also mismarketing, and it's just it almost seems like a scam. Really is what it feels like. I don't have a dirty taste on my tongue or anything, but the more we talk about it, the more I'm thinking, man, did they really just like... This is Madden. This is like they rehashed Orleans and just made some slight changes and fucked up. It's so bad.
Well, and it says to me, I mean, it says everything to me that it didn't go to Kickstarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it would have went to Kickstarter and people actually dissected it, because the pre-order page did not have a lot of information on this game.
That's true. Yeah, I bought it on a whim, honestly. So
there was not much information on this game when
they were just kind of relying. It's like, okay, people liked Orleans, like they'll still get our game, and they were relying on.
Yeah, that's probably the correct way to pronounce that. Orleans.
Orleans.
I go Orleans.
Orleans. I mean, I don't know.
Orleans is. Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, so that's why it's just the more we talk about it, the more I'm not like seething, because once again, when we were playing, it wasn't bad. It's just it does not work. So yeah, that's a 4 out of 10 for me. But that's our thoughts on Orleans Stories, everyone. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.